Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another year of Made by Marymount, the official Marymount Athletics podcast. My name is Ella DeNicola, and this year we are starting off the podcast with getting to know our new coaches here in Marymount Athletics. With that, today I sit down with the new head coach of Marymount softball, Coach Leigh Murray-Winstead. Today, Coach Leigh and I discuss the past and the future of Marymount softball. So with that, let's talk to Coach Leigh. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another year of Made by Marymount, the official Marymount Athletics podcast. Today, I am joined with our first guest of the year. I am joined with our new softball head coach here at Marymount, Coach Leigh Murray-Winstead. Coach Leigh, how are you today?
I'm good, Ella. How are you?
I'm good, and what a way to get Made by Marymount started this year with you, Coach Leigh. I'm super excited.
I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course, it's my pleasure. So, you have been with the program. This is not your first year with Marymount softball, with that to be exact. So tell me a little bit about the softball program. It's a very young program still here at Marymount. You're going into year 4. Tell me a little bit about this program.
So we have had a lot of early success with the program. We just finished our third season. We finished second in the conference, got to host a conference tournament. We were really one game, but really one bad inning away from making it to the conference championship. And winning the AAC has always been our goal. Mm-hmm. And, we're very much on the cusp of that. But it's been really exciting to kind of be here from the ground floor and see it flourish. And that's really just a tribute to the players taking ownership of this program. And it's been exciting to see.
So we'll talk a little bit at the team and then we'll go to you. So like you said, you guys, this will be your year 4 going into this year, just finished year 3. So with that, you had some girls that were here their freshman year of college here at Marymount, their first year of collegiate softball, who are now entering their last year, which is crazy because I'm in that same position. I'm like, oh my gosh, one more year. So they're entering that last year of collegiate athletics. What has it been like to watch these players grow? Because you have quite a big senior class, I feel like.
We have a huge senior class. We are graduating 9 this year. So, it's been really fun to see them grow from freshmen into seniors and take on that leadership role. They've done a tremendous job. Senior day will be very emotional, losing that class and that first class to go through the program. But, it's really nice right now to have, when we started, we didn't have that senior leadership, and they've really stepped into that role, and they kind of understand the importance of the senior leadership and upperclassmen, taking the freshmen under their wings and things like that. And they've just done a tremendous job, and I could not be more proud of them.
And so what's something that they've set up over the course of the last 3 years, going on 4 now, that has like really impacted the team as a whole, whether that be we do this as a team every Friday, or, they do something. What is something that you admire that you think has really brought the team together over the last couple of years? Yeah,
we've stressed, team bonding, team building. I think it's really important for them to build trust off the field, because we talk about, holding each other accountable on the field. But when teammates know that comes from a place of love, then they're more receptive to that accountability piece. And so they've done a great job of, one, making sure the freshmen are, taking them under their wing, going to spend time with them. They've also taken on, I think last year we had Ted Lasso Tuesdays. They'll probably correct me if I'm wrong on this, but they all got together and watched Ted Lasso.
This, yes.
And then, and then I think it transformed into, board games and other things. So they make an effort to spend time together away from softball, which I think is great. And so it's just nice to see, and it really builds that team and that family atmosphere.
And so last year, you go back to conference playoffs and you guys were in it and you had that home field advantage here. What was that kind of like, to experience that as a team and like be here at home and, have such a strong team like you guys had last year? You guys had, the seniors that have graduated, and you had a very tight-knit team last year. What was that like, that experience? Like, it was obviously very special, but kind of what were some of the emotions and feelings that you had, as a coach?
It was really exciting. That's always our goal, is to host. And it was, the girls were excited. We have such great support from our families. And so our our stands were packed. And it just adds a level of excitement and electricity when they take the field, and the players feel that, and we feel that as coaches. Just really proud of them, the way that they came together last year. And, every season there's a lot of adversity in any program, and they just came together really well and played for each other. And that's what I told them there was a lot of tears at the end of that season, and just because they had worked so hard to get to where they were, and they came together just, like a family, and played like a family.
So Coach Leigh, this is a little going sideways. What is one of your, so obviously Jacob and I can probably attest to this. So when we're at softball, we hear them doing their cheers in the dugout. What's the one that sticks in your head after the game? Mine personally, I think, is Layla's. I like Layla's. It's stuck in my head for at least the whole softball season. What's kind of the one that hangs out in the back of your head? I'm just curious, because you hear them all every single game, away and home. So I'm just curious which one sticks in your head.
Yeah, that's a good question. Oh, I might have to think about that one. I honestly, I'm so focused in my what
there we go.
I'm trying to not they've had a couple that were like, guys, you can't do that. we've had some questionable cheers, but I do like Layla's. That is a good one.
Yeah, I do. Layla's always sticks in my head because I always hear it first home game, and that's in the back of my head for the rest of the year. I'm laying in bed and I'm hearing it in the back of my head. I'm like, oh my gosh, Layla Hernandez in my heart forever.
There you go.
But so let's talk to you a little bit. So Coach Leigh, tell me a little bit about your softball past now being the head coach here at Marymount.
How far back do you want me to go?
How far back are you willing to go?
It's too far back that I don't want to. I might reveal how ancient I am. No, I had kind of a different path to coaching. After I graduated from college, I went to law school and practiced law for a few years. And what I realized through that experience is that the things that my coaches taught me and the things that I learned through my experience as a student athlete were the things that helped me be successful in life after softball. And so I really found a passion for coaching through that. And so I left the law practice and went to coach high school. I started at the high school level. Around here, I've been coaching for 9 years, I think now, and it kind of at various levels, and started here in 21 when the program started. But that's really, that's my why in coaching, is to empower our players to become the best versions of themselves on and off the field, because I truly believe that the lessons that we get to teach as coaches are the ones that really make a difference when not that you just go to class and study all that. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But it's
the different life lessons.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Yes, I get you. And so now you were assistant coach beforehand, now taking on the role of head coach. What has that been like? It's a little bit different now because you're in charge of a lot more. And, so what has that kind of been like, taking on that role, especially taking it on during the summer when that was announced and having to go through the summer, and then now getting started? Now, granted, we're only in the second day of class and, just getting into the fall semester, but kind of what has it been like?
It's been a little crazy. It's kind of been a whirlwind, especially starting through the summer. Like I said, we have 9, graduating in the 25 class. So our 25 class is huge. So, and I think very important as well. So just, kind of focusing on that recruiting aspect, making sure we're continuing, to build on that foundation that we have. It's been a lot of, you don't see it as an assistant. And so there's, a lot of behind the scenes that you're not even aware of. I know it's busy and there's a lot of behind the scenes, but I just didn't know how much, right? It's a lot. So, but it's been great. Everybody here has been so supportive. It's just a great community. It's been very welcoming. And it's excited. I'm excited to see where this season goes.
And so you have a very special team. You have a very successful team as a whole, and a couple of individuals are very successful on themselves. You have Kaylin Johnson on your team, Sam Sonati, Avery Yardis, Sarah Ameg. I could go on and on. That's this graduating class. They're my age. I know them. And your younger ones are just as amazing. But what has it been like? You talk about them growing as leaders, but kind of growing as players too, because obviously when you come in as a freshman, you've never been coached collegiately, and then you're coming into your senior year and you have had those 3 years of college coaching, college, lifting and things like that. What has it been like to watch them grow, not only as leaders, but as a player?
Yeah, it's really phenomenal. I would say, honestly, the best thing for me to see is to see them grown as people. Like they have really grown as people, and that has helped them on the field. Honestly, they have just they've really flourished. Obviously, that class came in with, there is a lot of talent, but through the lifting program and after having 4 years of playing experience, I'm really excited to see what this class does this year. I think it's going to be a special year.
So last year you had 2 graduating seniors, triplets, but twin sisters here at Marymount, Shannon and Jacqueline, which were a huge part of your team, in a leadership aspect and on the field. What's kind of like the plan now to, move on without them? Because they were a really big part of your program. I had them here. I had the pleasure of talking to them on Made by Marymount. It was very special to, hear, an athlete's perspective on it. Now getting the coach's perspective is kind of cool. But, being able to, be happy for them and move forward, as a team.
Yeah, they Shannon and Jack will definitely miss them on the field a ton, but I think that and they all came in together, right? Our freshman class, and then Shannon and Jack came in kind of as one big, even though they weren't freshmen, as one big freshman class. So they kind of all went through those learning curves together, and Shannon and Jack did a good job of kind of preparing our seniors to take over that leadership position. But honestly, a lot of our seniors were in a leadership position. Last year we try to emphasize that. We want everybody to lead in their own way, regardless of whether they're a senior or junior, freshman, sophomore. And so a lot of those players have already taken on those leadership positions. And I think that we will definitely miss Shannon and Jack on the field. But I think our team is ready to step up. Our pitching staff, is ready to step into, Shannon's definitely big shoes to fill, but they're ready and they're going to do great things in the spring.
I'm very, very excited, to see it now. I have a lot of close friends on your team, so it's going to be special to watch a lot of their senior seasons and watch the younger ones, kind of step up into that position, because I had the pleasure of watching my friends do it. And so now as a senior, you kind of see them grow into, leadership positions, and it's really cool to watch, and you know who stands out, and who, is the big sister, for you guys as a whole. So let's think about the last 3 years here. What's kind of been your favorite team memory, that you guys have had? Maybe it's I know you guys go to Myrtle Beach. I know you guys do a lot of things. I know you had a team barbecue I saw on your Instagram last night. What kind of has been something that has stood out that you'll never forget?
Honestly, I think it's the bus trips and the van trips.
I feel that's a common answer for a lot of people. They're the bus rides.
It really is. I mean, I love our girls. They're just some of my fondest memories of them, and the times I have laughed the hardest, I think, have been on the bus and on the vans. I'll never forget coming back from Cabrini. I always call it freshman year, but it's our first year. I feel like it's my freshman year too, so I got to grow up with them.
Hey.
And a couple of our freshmen were studying for their theology finals in the van, and they were going over their answers and kind of studying out loud together. And I'm like, you guys, they were just cracking me up. I think it has to be that. It's just kind of seeing them in their element and together, and just, and that's the thing that makes it really special, is the bonds you form off the field. And so I think that would have to be my answer.
So what is something that you, as now head coach, really want to emphasize this year? Obviously, your end goal as a team is Atlantic East Conference Championship, automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. That's a given. Everybody knows that. But what's something that you really want these girls to learn in their last season, and their second season, third season, and first? What's something that you as a coach really want to emphasize this year?
So I have 3 kind of points of emphasis or 3 initiatives, and one of them we kind of started and laid out at our first team meeting on Sunday. So one is kind of defining what our culture is going to be, and our standard, and I think that that's really important. We went through a very specific process of defining defining our mission, vision, core principles, and then what does it look like when we live in alignment with them, above the line behaviors, below the line behaviors. So kind of defining that, we've had 3 years to get our feet under us, and now we need to figure out, okay, what do we want Marymount softball to be about as a program? And so that's one. Leadership training is another. I want to incorporate some aspect of leadership training. I think we, as coaches, maybe, we if we have captains in our program, we name them captains, but we don't give them the training to be, good leaders. And I think that that's important. And then mental performance training is another thing that I'm very passionate about. And I think that at this level, it's really a game changer is teaching those habits and the mental performance aspects that really elevate your individual performance and team performance on the field.
Right, because softball and baseball are very mental. It's very mental, and you can have, a really bad game, and that could be that's really hard on an individual. So having to bounce from that is so important. So that mental, it's a mental game. It
absolutely is. Yeah, when you're failing 70% of the time and that's considered being successful, you've got to figure out how to deal with that 70% of failure so that 30% you can go out there and perform. So it's all about process. It's about, we talk about playing to our standard, not the scoreboard, and it's kind of the same on an individual basis. It's, did you have a quality at bat, not, what's my batting average? And so we're very, process oriented and focused in that respect.
And so let's look at the season coming on, when you guys will start here in the spring. When do you guys get started? Is it January or February?
January practice. And then our first game, I believe, is February 23rd.
So you guys have a little bit of time, beforehand. Obviously, you have the fall semester to kind of get started, get established and everything. What do you plan on doing, in the fall? Obviously, you guys will have your fall season to kind of get rolling. But what's something that, you're going to do this fall that maybe will have a really big impact, in the spring?
I think some of the things that I just talked about, one of the, with the mental performance training, one of the new initiatives we did, I put everybody in our team in pairs, and there's a really great app called the Heroic app, and it's Brian Johnson, who a lot of, I know UVA baseball works with them and things like that. So what they do is they have these notes where they distill books, within 5 pages, so you can take, whatever your favorite mental performance training book, and it's a 5-page PDF. And so I've assigned different books to each pair, and they're going to present on those topics. And it's different aspects of peak performance and mental performance and kind of how we can incorporate that into our own mental performance. I think we need kind of a program which will instill and install in the spring, but this kind of sets us up for, how important self-talk is and how important our breathing is and things like that. So that's something I'm looking forward to. And they've all got a date, and they'll present, 5-10 minutes at the end of practice. And we'll kind of see how that goes, but I'm looking forward to that.
That is very neat. I like that. That's really cool. I always in the summer try and read 1 or 2 little mental health books. My favorite one, I don't think it's mental health. I think it's more of mindset, would be the Make Your Bed book. I don't know.
I love that one. Yep.
Yeah, that one. And my dad got me to read that. I know my dad's going to watch this and be like, yep, yeah, I did. I had her read that book, and I would never tell him that it helped me, but here I am. It did help me, Dad. But I like those. They're really helpful, and I think that they're good. I think the more that people read them, I think when you're younger, you're like, oh, I don't need that. And then you're like, okay, maybe I do. And maybe it'll help me out a little bit.
Exactly. And it's transferable skills to life skills, the things that I use, every day. And so that's why I'm really passionate about mental performance, because it's not just for on the field. It's a life skill that they're going to use when they graduate. So.
Right, because something may go wrong in your work life. I mean, life doesn't stop. And I think that's the hardest thing that some people that I had to learn, as myself. And I think that goes for a lot of people. Yeah. Well, Coach Leigh, I want to thank you for joining me here on our first episode of Made by Marymount this year. I think this was a great way to kick it off this year. I had the pleasure of talking to you today. I'm very excited to see, what the Marymount softball team will accomplish this year. I know you guys are set up for success, with you taking them in the correct direction. But thank you again for joining me.
Thank you, Ella. Thank you for having me.